Here are my top 15 biggest tips and tricks to get pro at Blox Fruits, ranging from how to get free bounty without ever doing any real PvP, all the way to things like fragment grinding, sea event grinding, and unlocking colored Haki without spending Robux. To prove to you all how easy a lot of these things are, I'm actually using a noob account. As you can see, I don't have every permanent devil fruit unlocked, which is kind of a big deal. I also don't have every item unlocked, but I am max level and I'm in Blox Fruit stats. If you don't know how to do all 15 of these things, I don't think you could be called a end game pro player. So make sure you watch them all. Make sure you learn what you can and comment down below if there's any that you didn't know how to do. Press like and subscribe for a chance to win a permanent devil fruit of your choice. We are still doing giveaways until the update drops. Let's start off with farming sea events, which can be done in the third sea. But the first thing you're gonna want to do is start off in the second sea. In the second sea, if you come to the back of factory here, you can actually go up to where the cyborg NPC is, talk to this guy and buy his boat. He won't let me buy it, but I already have the lantern boat. I was wrong. I didn't have enough fragments. So there we go. 1,500 to buy the boat. If you're free to play, this is probably the best boat you can get early game to do sea events. In the third sea, you're going to want to take your lantern boat and head over to Tiki Outpost because it's the best place to set your spawn. All right, now that your spawn is set here, this is the best place to go if you die or if you just like run out of boat life, you want to reset, because the minute you leave the back of Tiki Outpost, you're here. You're in the sea event zone. Now we need to head to level 5. If you are doing this method, you might want to be like a Buddha or something like I just switched to the magma fruit. It's incredibly good for this. The reason that we go to level 5 is because distractions, but I love free fragments. Level 5 has the best chance that we've found without overwhelming the player with terror sharks to spawn things like triple sea beasts, to spawn the Mirage Island, and to spawn the haunted ships, which drop the most amount of Fool's Gold. So that's why in most of our testing, myself and several Discord groups of the grinding boys, we like to use level 5. If, of course, you're in a super rush just to find the Terror Shark boss, go all the way to the end. It'll spawn. If you're also not a V4, then you're going to want to do level 5 because there's a chance you could spawn Mirage Island and have a chance at finding the blue gear. Also remember that you can use observation Haki to dodge most things that can knock you out of your boat whenever you're doing sea events. All right, here we are at level 5, which is the crazy difficulty. If you're struggling, you can also do level 4, but level 5 spawns the most events without going ridiculous and taking away your ability to see. Now, I just get to about middle of the danger on the side over here, and then I just turn and run into rocks. And that's it. You can just patrol the level 5 area. You're going to find a lot of the best stuff. Haunted ships are good for Fool's Gold. If you find treasure islands or Mirage Island and you don't need the blue gear, I still recommend jumping on there and getting the fragment chests because free fragments, right? If the Terror Shark boss spawns, you can kill it pretty easily with Awakened Magma. And of course, one of the things you're probably out here for is the Sea Beasts, and that is just to grind money or levels. So in saying that, let's move on to tip number 2, which is making fast money in this game. The best way, I believe, is always going to be Sea Beasts. They're going to drop between like, I think 80 to 150,000 belly per kill. But if you've got the double pass, then you could get over 200,000 belly for a single kill. Yo, boats have spawned. Okay, these guys are good for Fool's Gold as well. They're not meant to drop Fool's Gold, but they do. I'm going to ignore them though, because I've moved on and I'm doing the money now. The thing about grinding out here at level 4 or level 5 for money, as well as they also drop a little bit of fragments. And if you're not a max level, they guarantee a level when you defeat them. So if you need money to buy like your latest fighting style or whatever, you can get money, fragments, and a few levels just by doing this. There's also an insanely small chance that boat raids can drop devil fruits. I don't think I've ever gotten one before, but apparently it can happen. Here we go. We got exactly what we were looking for. Rumbling waters. So when you're fighting these guys, one of the most important things to do is to move a lot. Oh, unless you are insanely unlucky like me, because We just got hit by literally everything in the game at once. Okay. That's not fair, video game. Okay, I died. Usually it goes a lot better than that. But as you can see, I spawned back in the Tiki Outpost. So I could just go back over this way, jump in a boat at the docks back here, and continue on. Okay, so that was 1 and 2. Sea beast farming for money and sea event farming in general. Let's move on to something that's really important to every player in this game, and that is dash jumping, something a lot of people don't do. My editor is going to put a timer on the screen right now. We're going to go from me touching this bit here, the rail here, to the rail on the far side. So I'm just going to dash like normal. This is your normal dashing speed to cross the easy game. And now I'm going to dash jump my way as well. And it should be faster because it feels way faster when you go this way. So you can see I'm pressing Q and space at the same time. I actually slowed down at the end. Let's do it one more time with the dash jumps. So I'm pressing Q and spacebar at the same time. So you get like a dashed jump. And it should be faster. If it's not, I'm going to be amazed. But it is way faster when you're like PvPing. It just feels like you can keep up with people a lot easier. If you do this, you'll actually feel like how much faster you are. That is number 3, dash jumping, super important. Let's talk about tip number 4, which is safe spotting. One of the reasons that you would keep a sword or a gun, even if you are a fruit main, is basically so that you can very easily like hit an NPC and keep running. And then hit an NPC and keep running. This lets you pick them together and pull them over to where you might have a safe spot, like so. They can't get to me. They can use their special attacks to hit me. But primarily, I am safe from them. And there's nothing that they can do to get to me. So I've lost control of the safe spot, so I had to reset. But from here, this is good for people who like to AFK. And it's also good if you're using a weaker fruit. Maybe you don't have something that's good for grinding just yet, or you don't have the Buddha. Safe spotting is super underrated. You can also cheese a bunch of different bosses this way as well. Like, for example, the mammoth boss, if you can get him stuck on this side of the pillar here, so he's pushed up against this trying to chase you, you can get far enough away that he won't use any attacks, but you can still shoot him with your devil fruit, and you'll be able to easily defeat the boss. It's a lot less work. For tip number 5, let's get some free bounty without ever doing real PvP. The problem right now is I have 2.5 million bounty, and everybody who actually PvPs would be stronger than me, better than me, and have higher bounty, which means they do more damage. So as you can see right here, at 2.5 million bounty, I have a 13% defense boost and a 9% damage boost. But someone with 5 million bounty has 13.6% damage boost and a 20% defense boost. They take 7% less damage from me, which means a good way to learn PvP is to get your bounty up first. So we're on a public server. We're just going to check every single server that we can. But luckily, most of the people playing this game right now are bots. So if you're on Tiki Island or if you're on Christmas Island, there's a good chance when you join a server, there's going to be a bot there. Wow, I actually managed to find a bot with 30 million bounty. That's sad. There are other bots in this server, but they're not at this island. Oh, there's one. All right, finally. I took a couple of servers to find, but once you do find them, all you have to do is kill them, although this one may have already died. Yeah, it looks like somebody's already killed this bot, which is just purely unlucky. You can wait for them if you want. I don't think it's worth it. It could have just died and it might take ages, but that is a free 10,000 bounty right there if you want. And you can basically repeat this process like some people that I know who have done this all the way to 30 million bounty. If you're not having any luck right here at Tiki Island, then I would go to the Sea of Treats because they got lots of bots there too. Let's do tip and trick number 6. This one confuses people a lot. And that is how to bribe the spy up here at the top of Tiki Outpost. This guy can be a massive pain. So let me explain exactly how the Leviathan works. It can basically spawn at any time as long as you have more than 5 people on your boat and you're out at level 6 in the ocean where the little question marks appear over here. If you do bribe the spy by clicking on clues, he'll say, I don't know anything yet. And because you can see I have no chance right now, there's no option for me to bribe this guy. That's because I'm probably currently on cooldown. So once you've defeated the Leviathan, your sea event counter resets, and you need to do 10 to 20 sea events before you can start bribing the spy again. And when you do bribe the spy for 1,500 fragments, it greatly increases the chance the Leviathan will spawn. So you can see here on the wiki, every time the user kills the Leviathan, the sea event count resets. But what you're actually looking for as you go through the clue lines and then you're bribing, you're basically waiting until he says the Leviathan is out there. Go find it before it causes more destruction. This will cost between 6,000 unless you get the bug, in which case it will cost 7,500 fragments. And it is, again, always worth doing. If you don't bribe the spy fully, the chances of it spawning is so low that you'll probably just never see it. So do your sea events until you have the ability to bribe, and then once you can bribe it all the way, get 5 friends, and head out to sea, find the Leviathan. It still takes forever. Let's do tips 6 and 7 together, and that is mastery farming and Hucky XP farming. So we're here on the Haunted Castle. This is my favorite place to do it, and I will show you why. Not only do you want to have the max number of bones before Halloween every year so that you can roll for Devil Fruit from the Death King right here, but also this little room offers a relative level of protection against any sort of mistakes. So for the Hucky XP and for Mastery, you're going to want an Elemental Devil Fruit. I have the Magma, but you could always use Smoke if you're extra poor. You can use Flame, you can use Ice, obviously. You have Sand, Dark, the Light Fruit, all of those elementals, so Magma as well. And with these, once you're high enough level, you basically, you don't take damage, obviously. So you cannot get Hucky XP by skipping the damage using Logia, but you can gain Hucky XP by punching or hitting with a sword. So depending on what you have available to you, obviously you wouldn't use the sword that moves you because that would mess up the whole farm. But you basically want to set up in the corner here, pick whatever it is you want to get mastery in while also wanting Hucky XP. So for example, God Human for me. And if you stand roughly in the corner here and just tap continuously, or if you have an auto clicker, just auto click continuously, the skeleton will respawn and you'll just kill it over and over again. Thanks to this room right here, mostly the walls, and the fact that the skeleton can't just fall over these windows, 90% of the time, the skeleton won't bug out and you'll be able to do this for hours without having to move, which will help you get full body Hucky and 600 mastery in anything that you need. I have 600 mastery on my main account on almost every sword, any gun that has a click to shoot, and all of the melees, purely because I can AFK there overnight and just auto-click. Moving on to tip number 8, we are on the move for this one. This is finding the Master of Auras. Everybody needs to know how to unlock all the Hucky colors. Not only do you need the Hucky colors in order to access the Rip Indra boss, they also look cool, and in the future, there might be other Hucky puzzles that you're going to need different colors for. So you're going to want to have at least all the legendary colors. The second sea is the best place to do this. The third sea is just a little bit too big and the spawns are too spaced out. But you're looking for this man right here, the Master of Auras. He does not have a cooldown. So if you find him, other people can also purchase from him. And of course, his Hucky colors are 1,500 fragments for regular and 7,500 for legendary color. So you're going to need to do some fragment farming, which is going to be my next tip. Here are all the spawn locations. So Forgotten Island, Hot and Cold, the Snow Mountain, Green Zone right near the ship to the third sea, Ice Castle, and in the Cursed Ship. So typically what you would do, you just join a public server and check all of those locations. Again, he doesn't despawn, so if somebody else found him first, that doesn't matter. This NPC can spawn after 5 minutes of a server being up and takes 25 minutes to despawn, so he's actually kind of almost always on the map. So because he wasn't at the green zone, and that's kind of the super obvious one, I think what I'm going to do is work my way from the back and go forward. So Skull Island. But of course, we're going to go this way because you'll pass not hot and cold. You'll pass the Snow Island right here where the Master of Auras would be just down here. And since he appears to not be on this island, I'm going to shoot straight to Skull. All right, we're going to check Skull Island. And I'm fairly certain you have to get off your boat for this one. Oh, there he is. Okay, that was actually super easy. So if he hadn't been here, I would have checked the ice castle and then gone back to hot and cold and the haunted ship because that creates like a full circle. And this guy is selling green lizard for 1,500. That's regular. Because I found this guy, I could also write in the chat and tell other people what color is here. But this way you can get all your legendary colors and have access to the Hucky color puzzles. Our next tip is about running services or purchasing services, which are technically against the rules. But since even here on the official Blox Fruits Discord, they don't actually enforce the rule, I think as a YouTuber and as someone who has used services to make a lot of value in the past, it's better that I just make this as safe as possible and teach you guys how to do it. Services are basically when you trade a raid, you'll run a raid 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 times, whatever, and then someone will pay you devil fruits in exchange, and you basically let them AFK the raid while you do all the work. The best way to find the going rates is just to look on the Discord and then like cross-reference. So this guy is saying that if you want to do advanced raids 4 to 6, you would need to give him 3.1 million to a 4 million fruit. Where this person here is saying for 5 to 7 raids, you do Rumble, Portal, or Buddha, which is a lot more expensive. But basically, you can get an idea, and you can post here in the official Blox Fruits Discord. It's against the rules, but they don't do anything about it. Or if you come over to my server, the bus stop, link in the description down below, we're testing out the vouch bot now. We haven't started using it properly, but as of this video, you'll be able to. Basically, you can go into Blox Fruits services, find people who offer services, and when you offer a service and it goes well, after the person has paid or you've paid them, you can /vouch and then put in their username, which gives them a vouch, and that allows other players to know that they're legit and that they've hosted legit services before. If you're someone looking to buy services, then you could go into here and write /vouchers and then put in their username to see how many vouchers that user has and whether or not they're trustworthy. Obviously, when you're looking at these pro tips, don't ever click on anyone who's pretending to be a YouTuber. We ban those losers. And look for people who eventually, I have 4 vouchers and can provide screenshots. That's a good thing. It would be even better if those 4 vouch people went into here and used the vouch command. This is a dangerous side of the game. You can get scammed, but if you want to offer services because you can solo raids, it's a very good way to get rich very quickly. Tip number 11 involves finding the values of your devil fruits so you can never get scammed. This one is really easy and it's worth your time. Just Google Blox Fruits Values. You can go onto the website bloxfruitsvalues.com. You can check by rarity, or you can actually use the calculator to see what is worth what. If we go to Legendary Devil Fruit, the Buddha is currently a 10 out of 10 demand and it's worth 8 million value. In game, the Buddha fruit only appears as 1.2 million in the trade window, and that's purely because it's only a legendary, but it's as useful as a mythic. So it's 8 million value going down the drain when I eat this devil fruit. But I need it because tip number 12 involves like the most important thing that you can do in this game whenever you're grinding. Everybody who uses the Buddha needs to know how to use the Buddha weapon trick. So if we shift into our full Buddha form, you can see how far away I can reach the opponent from. So it's all the way back here from where he spawns, right? But if I was to take off my Buddha, obviously I wouldn't be able to punch that far. So what you're going to do is you're going to shift back at the same time that you switch. And as you can see, I was too quick, so I ended up using my God-Human Z ability. So we shift and we press, and you can see this graphical glitch is now on my character. And that's because it still thinks I got giant hands and I have massive, massive reach. So now I'm just as fast as when I'm not a Buddha, but I have the added reach bonus of being a Buddha. If I change to my sword, it resets. But you can, if you're a sword main, do the exact same thing. You can be a Buddha and you can switch back, and then you'll have a giant sword that has the same reach, but you'll have the movement speed of a player who is not transformed into a Buddha. This is the fastest way to level up in the game, is to use the Buddha glitch, but then still be able to move around quickly as a mink with the pilot helmet, or maybe with the swordsman's hat or something. But basically, abuse this glitch. It's been around for ages. They haven't fixed it, probably because it's so good. Tip number 13 is how you can easily farm fragments. You might not believe this about yourself, but you can definitely, almost definitely, solo the dark raid. It's very easy to do it fast enough to get 1,000 fragments per raid. The dark boss, as long as you're dashing a lot, he will just miss you. So what the plan here would be is whenever you've got extra common devil fruit that you don't mind using up, you would turn them into raid chips and those raid chips into fragments. Here's everything that you can use to easily defeat the raid. Any low gear will do, but preferably awakened light, awakened magma, the Buddha fruit, or pretty much anything else above Buddha. Love works, sound works, you can use rumble, probably not pain, blizzard will do it easily, and pretty much every mythic fruit will also easily solo. And it's that simple. You can run this within like 5 to 6 minutes, and it's 1,000 fragments at a time. And being good at this and being fast at it is something that you definitely need to know how to do in order to be like a pro Blox Fruits player. So you can find fragments and get yourself all of the fighting styles. So it's 12.5 minutes at the start of the raid. Let's see how long this takes me. Cool. So I got to the last island and it looks like the game is completely disconnected. I've never had this happen in a raid before. It was probably going to get down to about the 6-minute timer because I got here with about 8 minutes to go. So I would say as a Buddha user, you could definitely do this in like 6 minutes. So that's 10,000 fragments or so an hour that you could get. Unfortunately, I have actually no choice. When the game does this, it's a new Roblox thing. I'm still completely connected, but the Roblox server has stopped responding. I have no choice but to rejoin the game. Not a pro tip, but don't get caught up in Roblox's terrible servers. We might be able to finish this now. Yeah, I was able to shift and stuff is spawning. All right, let's go for it. And now I can show you guys why this raid, unlike the others, is like way easier. So the Dark Boss has his slash attack, the Awakened Dark Dimensional Slash or whatever it's called. And 90% of the time, it will miss, or all of his attacks will just completely miss as long as you're dashing and running in a circle like this. You saw it just missed then, and it's super, super easy. Half of the NPCs will also get stuck on the roof, so you don't have to fight them all at once. And this is why the Dark Raid, I think, is the easiest of the raids. There we go. Boss is down. We had 4 minutes left, but 2 of those minutes was spent in total lag. So you could definitely do it in like 6 minutes. Our second last. So tip number 14, that is fruit farming. Obviously, if you're in the first sea, there's very little you can do. You can just roll a fruit every 2 hours. In the second and third sea, it all comes down to fighting against the factory raid and against the pirates. So you definitely have to roll every 2 hours. You want to set a timer. If you're for real about trying to get good devil fruit, you're going to want to set a timer and roll every 2 hours. And then when it comes to both the factory raid and the pirate raids, there's a few devil fruit that are very good. So if you're going to take on the factory raid, you're going to want to use awakened magma. You can also use the Buddha fruit if you're using melee, or if you're a sword main, that will work as well. And some other decent ones are like the blizzard fruit, although it's not that amazing. For the pirate raids, you can use awakened magma, awakened light fruit. You can use the Buddha fruit as long as you're using a sword main because you need that reach. And of course, you can also use blizzard, and if you have best friendo on the love fruit, that will work as well. You have to remember on public servers, you're fighting other players, which is why for the factory raid, the magma is the best because it leaves behind dot damage. The magma you leave behind burns the factory and gives you bonus damage. For the pirate raids out in this area here, if you're a big Buddha with a big sword, or if you want to use the Buddha glitch and be able to run around and hit them very, very quickly, you'll have a chance to win. It's also PvP. Sometimes you might want to die just before it starts so that nobody else can PvP you. Fruit farming is a big deal, and people who don't do it, every time you miss a factory, every time you miss a roll, you could miss a mythic devil fruit. And that's why a lot of players who complain they're not rich definitely don't deserve to be rich. If you miss it, you always miss out. This next one is a little bit hard to find a good example of, but our final tip, and one of the most important ones, is Ken tricking. And that's basically knowing or guessing when in an opponent's combo you should turn on your Ken or observation haki, and that'll allow you to break out of the combo. A good example would be if I go into my inventory and I eat an ice fruit. This probably, okay, this isn't awakened, but let's just imagine it is. All of the awakened ice fruits abilities can force you out of your Ken. They're called Ken breaks. So it'll knock you out of your Ken, and then the rest of their combo will hit you. So what you would want to do is not have your Ken on, and then if you get frozen, when they go to use something like their 6th realm gun, that's when you would turn your Ken on and you dodge the god-human attack. Let's see if I can... Oh, hello. That guy is so fast. Look at him go. Okay, so Dough Fruit is exactly the same. It's very, very difficult to use your Ken properly. Did he just teleport away? Whoa. Okay, this guy probably a hacker. Yeah, that's a hacker. So let's see if... All right, this one I would have been able to dodge, but I can't dodge his other attacks from his Dough Fruit. It'll break my Ken. This man is a hacker man, so he's making my life a little bit difficult, but let's see if I can knock him. Okay, so there's nothing I can do here, but I'm going to turn my Ken on now, just in case he missed. I was able to dodge his sword then and get my attack off, as you saw. But obviously, now my thing is also broken. This guy is not a very good example because he's kind of bad at the game. All right, I'm just going to ruin this man's day now. Wait, once he starts to lose, he'll probably just leave. So I know right after that hit, I actually got Ken broken because I'm stupid. All right. Killed the hacker man because he's an idiot. But basically, you kind of saw. Kind of hard to give an example of. But if that guy had been good at his combos, he would have hit me like 3 times with the Buddha. But then the minute he went in with the Soaring Beast, I would have turned my Ken on and dodged it. That's Ken tricking in a nutshell. And if you can't do it, you will die a lot in PvP. I'm terrible at it. I die a lot in PvP.